Finally tonight, tuba or not tuba? That was the question. The answer came late in life for the man Steve Hartman met on the road.
Now here's something you don't see every day, or any day for that matter. Unless you live in this formerly quiet neighborhood in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where for the past year, 66-year-old Kent Broussard has been marching toward a dream. A dream he's had ever since he was a little kid, when he first saw the Louisiana State University Marching Band. Someday, he'd play tuba for them, he thought.
And that day never came.
It did not.
And at some point, you get too old. You've got a job, you've got a family.
Exactly, right?
You're not going to go play for the LSU band.
No, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to play for the LSU band when I was 50.
But 66? He thought maybe. At least that's what he told his wife, Cheryl.
And at first I was like, do they have like a senior band? I mean, I wasn't sure what he was exactly talking about, and it was the real band.
And so, this year, this retired accountant went back to school, just in the hopes of making the band. He did play tuba as a kid, but had completely forgotten. So he relearned and trained hard for what was to be a very competitive audition process. Band director Simon Holowico.
You didn't cut him any slack. He doesn't get any breaks for being a senior citizen.
No, there are no breaks when you come here. And we follow that process to get the best possible group we can.
Which is why Kent was never really expecting to make the cut. And why he was this excited when he did. Kent is now the oldest person in the band by 41 years. His first game is tomorrow, and he hopes his little dot on the field will punctuate the importance of high-stepping out of your comfort zone.
Try it. The only thing you can do is fail. Your only failure is not trying.
And your only risk, annoying the entire neighborhood. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
It has been more than 80 years since retired Colonel Arnold Gabriel took an enlistment oath to defend his country during World War II. And to this day, he remains a man of his word. Here's Steve Hartman on the road.
At 100 years old, just tying your own laces is an accomplishment. But a few weeks ago, Arnold Gabriel of Arlington, Virginia, got suited up for something much more impressive. This retired Air Force colonel was once conductor of the U.S. Air Force Band. Under his leadership, the band became internationally renowned. One of his biggest fans, this guy, Bruce Moss, conductor of the Wheaton Municipal Band in Wheaton, Illinois. Bruce even invited Colonel Gabriel to be a guest conductor once.
He did not know me. He did not know the band. But he fell in love with the band over time and kept coming back.
And on one of those subsequent visits, Bruce said to Colonel Gabriel, who was in his 70s at the time, "You look so good, I bet you'll still be conducting at 100. Gabriel said, "I fully intend to." And when Bruce heard that, he saw an opportunity too good to pass up.
So I went home, wrote a contract, and mailed it to him.
Making him sign that he would come and conduct on his 100th birthday.
Yes. He said, of course, if I don't make it to 100, this contract's null and void, but don't count on it.
His health is declining, and he can't travel anymore. But he was determined to honor his commitment.
Your word is your bond. If you sign a contract, you have to fulfill it. Yeah. No question about it.
And that's why, last month, remotely, he struck up the band one last time.
It felt like I was there on stage with them.
Even at 100, he kept perfect time. But more importantly, he kept his word. Steve Hartman, CBS News, on the road.
The amusement park carousel was inspired by a device designed to help French soldiers train for jousting matches without tiring their horses. Centuries later, the carousel is helping an American soldier battle his demons. Here's Steve Hartman on the road.
During the height of the Vietnam War, if you were stationed here at Marine Outpost Con Tien, it was like a death sentence.
Emergency medevac, ASAP.
Was there a worse place you could have been?
Not then. It just seemed like a matter of time for everybody.
Scott Harrison, then a 19-year-old corporal, says he got through those dark days thanks, in no small part, to a music box like this one. His sister sent it to him, and during breaks in the fighting, he used to hold it tight to his ear.
And I would close my eyes and I would think of a carousel in a mountain meadow.
A carousel?
A carousel in a mountain meadow. An image totally opposite of where people are trying to kill each other.
And it was always the same image?
Yeah.
Over and over?
Yeah.
Scott says that delicate tinkling of a simpler time lowered his adrenaline and tempered the brutality. Eventually, he was wounded, evacuated, and reintegrated into civilian life.
Scott left Vietnam in 1968, but the war never left him. He battled PTSD with alcohol, tried living alone on a boat in the ocean, but nothing worked. And that's when he circled back to that carousel vision, that one he conjured so long ago.
I thought that if I could start actually making that vision come true, it would keep me on an even keel and make me happier.
So he bought a broken-down carousel and for the next 26 years carved brand new animals for it. Today, here in Nederland, Colorado, in a mountain valley just like the one he envisioned, you'll find a carousel like none you've ever seen. The Carousel of Happiness is a nonprofit, and over the past 15 years, it has delighted more than 1 million people and profoundly changed at least one.
Just to go to that carousel and see everybody having such a great time is good medicine for me. Because I started out trying to treat myself, and then it just changed into something that I could do for others.
The healing power of compassion. It's what makes the world go round. Steve Hartman, on the road in Nederland, Colorado.
There are many reasons why people might pursue a college degree later in life, including career growth or simply a thirst for knowledge. Steve Hartman is on the road tonight with a story of a recent graduate who was inspired by the desire to honor.
79-year-old Linwood Riddick of New York could have spent his golden years here in Summerville, South Carolina, tickling the ivories or whatever else tickled his fancy. But instead, this retired shop owner has spent the last 6 years poring over textbooks and dragging himself to class here at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, relentless in his pursuit of a college education.
I just stepped on the accelerator and didn't stop.
And didn't stop.
I was determined to complete what I started.
To understand why it mattered so, you need to go back to 1968. Protests against segregation were erupting across the country, one of the deadliest at South Carolina State, where 3 unarmed black students were shot and killed by police in what became known as the Orangeburg Massacre.
Like many of us, Linwood Riddick had never heard of the Orangeburg Massacre until a few years ago when he stumbled on this campus memorial. And he says he knew right then what he had to do.
I said, you know, I'm coming here. I'm coming here.
Why?
Because I want to put my contributions to their sacrifice. That when I get my degree, it's going to be in their name.
In his mind, he was completing their mission.
University President Alexander Conyers.
He started here in 2019 with 0 credits, driving from Somerville every day, which is almost an hour, to class and back home.
That patience and persistence earned him a bachelor's degree in music industry.
Linwood James Riddick.
Earlier this month, he walked across the stage to a standing ovation. But the more important walk was yet to come. One done alone, without any pomp or circumstance.
I've been here 6 years. We connected. With me graduating, you graduated. Thank you, brothers.
And with that, Linwood Riddick's mission was complete. And although it started as a symbolic gesture, President Conyers says it'll have a very real impact.
Mr. Riddick has brought this back to the forefront for this university, for this community, for this state, to remind us of our solemn duty to never forget.
Bachelor's in music, master of history. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
We take you now to America's heartland and what's become a popular landmark in Iowa. In what was once an area to feed cattle, the seed of a dream was planted, and my, how it has grown. Steve Hartman paid another visit on the road.
For as long as he can remember, Mark Kewen has been working the family farm in Charles City, Iowa. And as we first reported in 2017, that is why, as a kid, to escape, he used to listen to a ham radio.
Beautiful backhand on the line.
And one day, he stumbled on a BBC broadcast from this funny-sounding place called Wimbledon of this crazy-scoring sport called tennis.
By 3 sets to 1. We didn't understand it. Why did it go to 15 and then 30 and then 40, and love?
That was the beginning of his now lifelong obsession with grass court tennis that culminated in 2003 when he replaced his cattle feedlot with a replica of Wimbledon's center court. Took him 1.5 years to construct, got an internship at Wimbledon to learn how to maintain it, and then for the longest time he just cut the grass. But as sometimes happens when an Iowa farmer builds a field of dreams, people came. These kids are from Iowa and Minnesota, here to compete in an invitational tournament. And that's umpire Baron Whitted, also from Minnesota.
And when I found that there's a place in the middle of Iowa in a cornfield, it's like, get in the car, So I came down as fast as I could.
They'll come from anywhere and everywhere, and they'll come at all times of the night.
Does it make you wish you hadn't built it?
Never. No. Great to have you play here. You're very welcome.
It's been 8 years since we first told this story. Folks have now flocked here from 49 states and 8 countries. Even professionals, like women's Grand Slam champion Madison Keys, visited. And Mark has let them all play for free. But he's now 74, has Parkinson's, and says it's getting hard to keep this up.
We just want to sustain it into the future.
How are you going to do that?
Well, we have a foundation, and we're working on that.
Mark says he's confident he'll find someone, some way to keep this going. Feels he has to, because when a slice of heaven appears in an Iowa field, you don't sell. You just wait for the angels to show up. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Charles City, Iowa.
Tonight, Steve Hartman is on the road with a super dedicated sports fan who's in a league of his own.
Let's go! Fight! Sequence fight! Win!
We came to Antioch Community High School near Chicago to meet the record holder, the undisputed champion of showing up. As we first reported a couple years ago, then 91-year-old superfan Steve Young hadn't missed a single Antioch football game since 1946. Not that there hadn't been close calls, like the summer he got in a traffic accident in a thunderstorm.
I had 11 broken bones, punctured left lung. And while I was laying on a stretcher, I got hit by lightning, knocked me off the stretcher.
Wait. You got hit by lightning while you're on the stretcher?
On the stretcher. They got me in the hospital, and the one doctor said, he's not going to make it. And I said, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I said, I've got a game to go to.
And sure enough, a few weeks later, he was at the season opener.
But it's not just football. Steve has also been to virtually every basketball game, softball game, and volleyball match. He goes to tennis matches, golf matches, and even bowling tournaments. He is omnipresent at more than 20 sports, plus plays in concerts.
We talked to students and former students across 3 generations.
He was at our games, no matter what.
Rain or shine.
Home or away.
Every single one. He's always there.
For some athletes, it's maybe the only person that they have at the game, so.
Steve says that's true. Kids have told him so.
I've had kids come up and say, my parents never show up for anything.
What's that like to hear?
It kind of hits home.
And it's a big reason why he does it. After we first told this story, Steve got inducted into the Antioch High School Hall of Fame as a super fan. And of course, he still goes to games. Now 93 years old and as ever present as ever, with no plans to stay home anytime soon.
You're not going to live forever. You're going to miss a game.
Who says?
Steve Hartman on the road in Antioch, Illinois.
Finally tonight, one man's long military career and a special hometown effort to honor him. Here's CBS's Steve Hartman on the road.
So as we gather here on this Memorial Day,
at a ceremony in Poolesville, Maryland, American Legion Post 247 paid special tribute to one of its own.
He was a Marine. He was most proud of being a Marine.
The vet they're honoring is Gunnery Sergeant Richard Remp. Remp, who everyone called Gunny, quit high school to serve in World War II and stayed all the way through Vietnam.
Here's all his ribbons.
Friends Julian Singh and James Capicilli say he was highly decorated.
That's right.
And all those accomplishments, and there was still one thing left undone.
Yes.
High school diploma.
That was his sort of farewell wish.
Fortunately, Pennsylvania law allows for any honorably discharged veteran of World War II, Korea, or Vietnam to receive an honorary high school diploma. Unfortunately, it takes time, and Gunny had just days to live. Nevertheless, his friends, in desperation, reached out to school officials here in his hometown of Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Hi.
Superintendent Justy Glaros took the call.
I have a lot of passion for the men and women that serve our country, and just everything inside of me said, yes, go, do it.
So she expedited the request and then went the extra mile, or more like the extra 550 miles, driving nearly 5 hours each way to hand deliver his diploma.
It was overwhelming. And I knew that he had been weak, but in that moment, he wasn't. He was all in.
Gunny died 2 days later. He was 98.
The last thing he really remembered was getting that high school diploma from Justy.
This may be the most memorable graduation story of the season, but it is also not entirely unique. This weekend, and in the days ahead, about 4 million people will graduate high school, and behind each diploma, you'll find at least one educator who made the moment possible. Steve Hartman, on the road in Poolesville, Maryland.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a story that shows it's never too late to go home again.
At the age of 97.
Good morning.
Just stepping out of a 4x4 is a major accomplishment. But Opal Lee has taken much greater strides than this, with no plans to sit anytime soon.
Where do we go from here? We don't have to sit around and wait for the Lord to come for us. In fact, he's going to have to catch me.
Opal,
Tell you,
is a retired teacher and lifelong community activist in Fort Worth, Texas. She's mostly known for her successful campaign to make Juneteenth a national holiday. But what is lesser known is how that fire in her belly came to be. Back in 1939, when Opal was 12, her family moved into a house that stood right here in an all-white neighborhood. They'd lived here just 5 days when a mob showed up.
What did the mob do to your house?
They tore it asunder. They set stuff on fire. They did despicable things.
The family moved away and moved on. They just wanted to forget the horror. Until 8 decades later, when Opal Lee decided the time had come to remember it. So she looked up the address, found out the lot was still vacant and owned by the local chapter of Habitat for Humanity.
CEO Gage Yeager took Opal's call. He listened to her story, but then told her she could not buy that property.
Said, well, we won't sell it to you, Opal, but we'll give it to you. There's no option for anything else.
What'd you think when you heard that?
When I get happy, I want to do a holy dance, but the kids say I'm twerking, so I don't ever do it.
And she still hadn't heard the best news.
How are you?
Real good, real good.
Gage also offered to work with donors to put a house on her land for free.
And so it'll be a 3-bedroom.
Plans are done, and he hopes to have it ready for Opal to move in by her 99th birthday.
I want you to know that I've got a God who has been so good to me. I think if I ask, he'd let me have a couple of more years.
Request submitted.
Fast track.
Steve Hartman, on the road in Fort Worth.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road to find the often overlooked men and women who are the heartbeat of our nation.
We set out this week to find someone who exemplifies the spirit of the American worker and wound up here in Cleveland, Tennessee at Tenova Healthcare, where 85-year-old Doris Caldwell holds one of the least glamorous, most physically challenging jobs in the hospital.
Hello, my name is Doris. I'm the housekeeping. Can I come in and clean your floor?
She's been at this 50 years.
Okay, thank you.
But what makes her special isn't just her longevity, her geniality, or even her flexibility.
Could you bend over, touch your toes?
You want to see me?
Instead, what makes Doris remarkable is that cleaning rooms is, and always has been, her dream job.
Back in the 60s, Doris used to pass by this hospital and say to herself, I'm going to work there someday. She didn't care if it was as a doctor or a dishwasher. All she wanted was to play some role in making people better.
Dreaming of helping people, be with people. And my dream is still going on.
And her attitude, still inspiring others. From the CEO,
her aura is something that you want to be around.
To the doctors.
I've never heard her have a single complaint.
To the maintenance crews.
She just likes to work.
Everyone is stumped by her stamina.
I asked her one time when she was going to retire, and she said, no. Just no.
No. I think I would just dry up and fly away.
Her vow to stay on is reassuring to everyone at Tenova, except maybe this one nurse.
Because I don't think I can retire and her still working.
Her daughter Sharon has been here 44 years. She's stuck, but feels blessed to be so.
She's just an amazing lady.
This Labor Day, we celebrate all those dutiful, inexhaustible American workers. Those who cheerfully keep this country running. Those who will enjoy Monday, just not as much as Tuesday.
Is there anything else I can do for you, sir?
Steve Hartman, on the road.
You have a great day.
In Cleveland, Tennessee.
Finally tonight, one woman who proves age is just a number. CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a 103-year-old lobster woman who shows no signs of stopping.
Max Oliver is an old salt, but to his crewmate on this lobster boat, Max is but a child. Her child. As we first reported a couple years ago, Then 101-year-old Virginia Oliver was Maine's oldest lobster fisherman. 3 days a week, May through November, you could find Virginia out here on Penobscot Bay, tackling one of the most hazardous jobs in the country.
Have they ever gotten you?
Of course.
Once she got cut so badly, she needed 7 stitches.
And the doctor said to me, "What are you out there lobstering for?"
Good question.
And I said, "Because I want to."
I think he might have thought that was a little too dangerous for somebody of your age.
I don't care what he thought.
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
Virginia had been lobstering on and off since the age of 7. She used to go out with her father. It was man's work then, not another girl in sight. But 9 decades later, she was the master of the sea. After Max hauled in the traps, Virginia measured the lobsters,
Don't go on.
tossed out the small ones,
Just throw it away.
and then tamed the claws of the keepers.
Who's the boss out there?
I
am. She don't give up.
What would she say if you said, "I'm ready to retire"?
You better have something wrong with you.
You better have something wrong with you.
It's been 2 years since our visit, and I'm happy to report that almost nothing has changed. Later this month, at the age of 103, Virginia will begin her 95th lobstering season. There's a children's book now, and she's gained some celebrity, but Virginia remains the same humble lobster woman with the same retirement plan.
When I die.
When you die.
Yeah.
In other words, no time soon. Steve Hartman, on the road in Rockland, Maine.
Finally tonight, Steve Hartman goes on the road with a man using the power of music to honor his past and provide hope for the future.
What would compel a man, a retired businessman, to become a street performer, playing for bills in a bucket at the age of 83? Is it love? Loss? Purpose?
Yes, yes, yes. On our honeymoon.
Larry Kingsley says the love part is Georgianne, his wife of 23 years.
Did she always put her head right there?
Usually. I liked it there.
Unfortunately, she's also the loss part. 4 years ago, Georgianne was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
And the doctor says, you know, it's going to be difficult. I said, I know, but I'm married to her, so I'm going to be with her.
And with her, he was. When Larry got out the old trumpet he bought back in his Air Force days and started playing 3 times a week on a sidewalk in Cary, North Carolina. Larry says Georgianne loved it, although she was confused.
In fact, she used to yell at him. "Why don't you get a real job?" she'd say. Assumed he was out here panhandling. And Larry laughed it off, knowing that, in a way, this had become his job, his mission.
Every donation goes toward finding a cure. Every dollar, a fulfillment of Larry's newfound purpose.
The day that she died, I played that night.
Wow.
But in my mind, I just say the show goes on.
After Georgianne died last year, Larry started playing 6 nights a week. He has now raised more than $15,000 and has vowed to keep it up until Alzheimer's is just a memory. Steve Hartman, on the road in Cary, North Carolina.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road to revisit a story about finding beauty even in the most difficult of circumstances.
So now what I have to do is use a ratio and proportion.
To hear him talk, you'd think Detroit artist Richard Phillips was some kind of highly trained master.
Into an abstract.
But as we first reported in 2019, this was his first exhibit.
And his son.
I'm sorry, can you believe we're even having this conversation?
No, I can't believe it.
He is America's most unlikely art phenom.
I'm just a young kid from the ghettos that's been through hell and high water and still here.
Before becoming celebrated, Richard was incarcerated. In 1971, he was arrested for murder, a murder we now know he didn't commit. To pass the time and temper the injustice, he painted.
It was something to do, occupy my mind.
Better than putting X's on a calendar.
Right. I could get off into one of my paintings and just be in there for hours and hours and hours.
And that's how it was for 46 years until he was exonerated in 2018. Unfortunately, after all that, the state just sent him on his way without so much as a bus ticket.
How were you going to survive?
I really didn't know. I thought maybe that I was going to have to stand out somewhere with a cup and beg for nickels and dimes.
But then Richard thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe there was a way for him to make a living, using his life's work.
Wow.
Hundreds and hundreds of watercolors.
I could take my artwork and still make it in this world.
And that he did.
I just dreamed a lot.
It's been 4 years since we first told this story. And thanks to his artwork sales, Richard now has a new house, new car, and for the first time in his life, a dog.
It's not done yet. I'm still involved in social reform. I'm still involved in criminal injustice. I'm still involved with the Innocence Network. So I'm just trying to stay active.
Stay active and finally enjoy what was denied him all those 46 years. The American dream.
If you own one of these, you own a piece of history. I have to get that in there because that's very important.
Steve Hartman.
You found yourself a career.
On the road in Detroit.
Being able to pitch.
Being able to pitch, exactly.
There's probably not a track and field event more technically demanding than pole vaulting, and the man you're about to meet is still vaulting to heights that would impress athletes half his age. Here's Steve Hartman on the road.
Here at the Texas Express pole vaulting gym near Dallas, just about every kid jumps to the same conclusion. First time they see 82-year-old Don Isett walk in the door.
And I thought, oh, maybe he's like someone's grandfather or something. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Which soon leads to the second universal reaction.
Wow, is he okay? I thought.
What he does is absolutely insane.
Don Isett is the nation's top pole vaulter in his age group.
National champion.
And pretty much the only pole vaulter in his age group.
I've got buckets of
them.
He picked up the sport for a second time at age 66.
This is when you started?
5 decades after an unremarkable high school career.
So you weren't even that good to begin with.
Right.
So at 66, you say, I want to relive this.
Yeah.
Mediocrity.
I'll try this again.
Why?
It's fun. It's like going to high school again with nothing to study.
Nothing to study but the physics of gravitational potential energy and pain management.
That's a jump right there.
But Don says it's well worth the aches.
It's a rush, exhilaration when you clear a bar.
At a meet last year, Don cleared 9 feet 1 inch. No octogenarian had ever done such a thing. And then, just moments later, set another record. Oldest man to be a human centrifuge. And Don says he's not done setting records. In fact, he told me he plans to keep fit and keep at this until he's 6 feet under, which by my calculation is still about 15 feet away. Steve Hartman, on the road in Princeton, Texas.
Tonight we're wrapping up our special Mother's Day series with a mom and son relationship that is motion picture perfect. We first met them in 2017, and Steve Hartman joins them tonight on the road to movie stardom.
At her sold-out New York premiere, Rebecca Danagelis was pulled in all directions. Everyone wanting a picture with this most unlikely star of the silver screen.
It was really bizarre because I'm like, this is just my mom. We just showed up out of an Uber.
Rebecca's son, Sean Pierre.
She went from hotel housekeeper to household name over the last 4 or 5 years.
As we first reported back in 2017, the journey began right after she left this voicemail for her son.
I just got fired. Just want you to know that. Call me back.
Let go at 75.
End of message.
I was in shock. I never expected it to happen to me.
My biggest worry was, like, if she loses her job, what else does she have?
Rebecca tried finding other work, went to career centers, scoured job listings, but nothing.
There ain't no reason anybody's gonna hire somebody that's 75 years of age.
Which is why Sean Pierre, who works as a freelance journalist, took a different tack.
You never know. She worked her hands to the bone. She deserved to feel joy, and that's what I wanted to give her.
So, on that note, mother and son hit the road. He took her bucket list, and together they started ticking off items.
Oh my God.
Milk a cow in Vermont. Done.
I love it.
Take a hip-hop lesson. Check. Learn to use Instagram.
Just press the heart.
Work in progress. Sean Pierre has chronicled the whole adventure in a new documentary called Duty Free. The film, now showing across the country, is his gift to her. And although Rebecca couldn't be more grateful, she says it was hardly necessary. She says no one needs to roll out a red carpet for their mom on Mother's Day. They just need to follow the sidewalk to her door.
The most important thing you can give your mums is time. You want to spend time with them.
Oscar-worthy advice. Steve Hartman, CBS News. On the road.
Tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman catches up with one of his favorite people. He's one part Forrest Gump and one part Energizer Bunny. Here's tonight's On the Road.
High on the list of things I never thought I'd see is this. Ernie Andrus, who turns 97 next week, still marching across America.
Every step of the way.
I first met Ernie 6 years ago. He was in the middle of the Arizona desert trying to become the oldest person to ever run coast to coast. 3 years later, he actually made it to the Georgia shore, only to then turn around and start running back the other way. Ernie is now a year into the return trip. We caught up with him outside Lufkin, Texas, plodding along slow and steady as usual, albeit slightly slower.
Hey, I better hang on.
And noticeably less steady. A few weeks ago, a doctor diagnosed Ernie with congestive heart failure.
Yeah, that's what they told me, but he's selling pacemakers.
So you think that's just all a sales pitch?
Yeah.
There's a chance he could be telling you the truth, though, Ernie. Does that change anything?
No, I run till I drop. I always said I'll die with my running shoes on.
Much of Ernie's motivation to soldier on comes from his sailor past. During World War II, Ernie served on a ship called an LST, and he's been running to raise money for the LST Memorial in Evansville, Indiana.
This shouldn't be forgotten. It's the ship that won the war. Everybody!
But along the way, this run has also taken on a more personal purpose, as thousands have joined him for at least a leg of the journey.
God bless you, sir.
They have listened to his stories, celebrated his fortitude, and given Ernie the key to a long life, a deep desire to keep pressing forward.
Run, Ernie, run!
And that's why, although his doctor says time is short, Ernie is still planning to reach the Pacific sometime around his 101st birthday.
So, let's say you make it to California, then you stop running?
No, I have a plan for a coast-to-coast relay.
Ernie Andrus.
Yeah.
Optimistic for the long run. Steve Hartman, CBS News. On the road.